Recognizes Mr. Alford from Montana.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member, and thank you, General Milley and
Missouri, sorry.
That's all right. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being here today. I know it's late. We're down to the freshmen. We're almost done. So stick with us. I do want to talk about the budget. I think that's why we're here today. I've got a few questions, then I want to deal in something else. But I want to talk about Indo-PACOM. It has a $3.5 billion budget shortfall. Secretary Austin, you did say that China is our #1 threat. It's our most strategic competitor, if you want to use that term. Why did the DoD fail to include additional funding to bolster Guam's missile defense system, enhance our cyber and networks defenses for our joint exercises and training in that region? Why were these Indo-PACOM unfunded priorities not included in the budget?
I'll just point to the fact that we've invested $9.1 billion this year in the Pacific Deterrence Initiative. That's 40% more than we invested last year, and we'll continue to invest in the years to come in those things that we can actually execute. But at some point, you have to prioritize on what you're going after in the current term. So.
Modernization is really key for the assets of our military, including the nuclear triad. I'm honored to represent Whiteman Air Force Base, home of the B-2, soon to be home of the B-21. I'm fortunate enough to be able to go see that program in 2 weeks. It's exciting. It's going to be a great deterrent. The question is it going to get here in time to be a real deterrent for a potential conflict with China over Taiwan, whether it's 25 or 27? How concerned are you about our ability to protect our allies in the Indo-Pacific and deter China from invading Taiwan?
This is what we focus on each and every day, and we know that we have to have a capability for the future, because China will continue to evolve in terms of their capabilities, but we have to be able to fight today and be successful. And I am confident that we have the right things to be able to be successful today, and I'm asking you for your support to continue to invest in things that will increase readiness today, but will also invest in future modernization. And so that's been our approach. We've linked our budget requests directly to our strategy. And so in terms of my level of confidence that we're going after the right things, I think we absolutely are. So.
Thank you. General Milley, I want to shift back over to the concept of the politicization of the military. Trust and confidence has gone from 70% down to 48% from 2018 to 2022. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, first of all, I looked at that survey too. The top two categories are a lot of trust and confidence, and then trust and confidence. Then there's a neutral category, and then there's no trust and confidence. The numbers actually go from the top #1 to #2. If you combine the two numbers, it's still trust and confidence. So the military still has a lot of trust and confidence.
It's still a decline, though,
right?
It's
a decline from the top to the second.
And it's not
But
going up.
I would argue that the American people still have enormous pride and trust and confidence in the military. That's the first point. Secondly, I do think that there has been politicization of the military. I don't think it's been by the military, though. So I'll just leave it at that. I think the military, all of us, from me on down, have tried enormously to keep the military out of politics. That's fundamental to the health of this republic. You never want the military in actual politics. Very dangerous. So we need to keep the military out of politics. We need to keep it apolitical and nonpartisan at all times, and we're committed to that.
Well, since you took over the chairmanship October 1 of 2019, is there anything that you have done in that time period that you would do differently, that you've learned from, to at least avoid the perception that it is more about politics than guidance and leadership?
Yeah, I gave remarks at the graduation speech at NDU a couple of years ago. When I walked from the White House to outside with President Trump toward what is a political event. Look, President Trump could do whatever he wants to do. He's a politician, but I'm not. And because I went out there in that uniform, that was a terrible moment for the United States military, and it gave the perception of politicization. It wasn't intentional. It was done by accident on my part. As soon as I realized it was a political event, I walked away from it. But I got to tell you, that photo is out there. It's all over the place, and that did a lot of damage to the military, for which I will always regret. That had nothing to do with President Trump or anybody in the White House. That had to do with me walking out there. It was wrong, and I knew it as soon as it happened. 30 seconds after, that's why I walked away. But that one moment was captured, and that was one of the things as an example of lessons learned.
Thank you, General. Thank you, sir. I yield back.